I think by video number 2 or number 3, when it first went viral, like 3 to 4 days later, I was booked out for the next 3 weeks. And I'm like, what just happened here? YouTube is still contributing to about like 90 to 95% of the revenue that we're generating right now in our company. This isn't something that you should think about doing. It's something that you need to do.
So what would you say then to someone who is on the fence, is considering working with us, but it's not sure if they should pull the trigger on that?
It's easily been the best, not one of the best, the best investment I've ever made for my company.
Hey guys, and welcome to this video. Now today I have an exciting guest with me. Meet our client Marvin. We've been working together for over a year right now, and I wanted to chat with him today about growing a YouTube channel, using YouTube to grow your business, to get more leads, get more clients, and basically about scaling the business as well. So Marvin, welcome to the channel. Excited to have you here.
Listen, Greg, excited to be here. What's going on, everybody? My name is Marvin Francois. I'm the CEO of Takeoff Financial and Takeoff University, and excited for a really dope conversation.
Amazing. Now, what I wanted to start this conversation with is ask you, if you remember, what made you start a YouTube channel in the first place? Because I feel like in the business space, it's still not that popular to use YouTube specifically to get more leads and grow a business.
Yeah, which is very surprising to me, at least now, because I've seen the fruits of it. But to answer your question, I remember when I first started my financial consulting firm, I was mainly using Instagram and kind of just word of mouth to get leads and clients. And it's not that I wasn't getting people on the calendar. It's just that I wasn't getting the right people on the calendar. Or it was very sporadic, right? To where it's like some days, we have a couple calls on the calendar, and there's other days where it's like, man, does it even make sense to open a business today, right? Because we just don't have any calls scheduled. We don't have people in the pipeline. Things aren't looking good. So I remember at the time, a close friend of mine was familiar with YouTube, way more familiar with YouTube than I was. And he was like, man, you're posting everywhere but YouTube. And I think that's where you may have your best shot of getting, more lead flow and more clients and just better people to work with. I was like, man, you bugging. I'm gonna just keep doing this Instagram thing. Maybe I just got to post 10 times, 20 times more and cross my fingers and hope things change. But he kept nagging me. I kept pushing him off. He kept nagging me. And I was just like, you know what? Let's see what this YouTube thing is about. I think by video number 2 or number 3, that was the video I created for my channel that took off. It was a video around just how to remove inquiries in 24 hours. That video at the time cracked like 100,000 views within a matter of months. And as of today, it's sitting at 400,000 views. And that video, I remember when it first went viral, like 3 to 4 days later, I was booked out for the next 3 weeks. Mind you, we were taking 16 consultations a day. And I was booked out for the next 3 weeks. And I'm like, what just happened here? Right. And in that moment, I was like, oh, I'm all in on YouTube. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. I'll still post here and I'll still run an ad or two occasionally. But YouTube is a place for me. And ever since then, man, I've just been locked in on it.
Yes, I think one of the biggest difference when you compare YouTube to other platforms is that longevity of content. So you mentioned this one video that you posted years ago, one of the first videos, it consistently brought in more and more views over time. And that's also why you were able to get more and more leads from that. Where on most platforms, even Instagram that you mentioned, you post and the content is pretty much dead after 24 hours, 7 days. Maybe a month, but that's literally it.
Yeah, 100%. There's even still today, there's pieces of content I posted from when I first started my channel that are still driving leads to my business to this day, which is crazy because imagine making a piece of content 2-3 years ago and it's still responsible for generating, sales for your company. So YouTube has been an absolute game changer for me, and I'm very happy about the fact that I stuck with it.
Yes, and currently, what's the split of leads that you're getting in the business that you're getting from YouTube compared to other sources?
So right now, most of our lead gen is either organic content or paid advertising. I would say the split right now is a strong 80-20. So 80% of our lead flow is coming from organic, and the other 20% is coming from paid advertising. But what's super funny is what I've come to learn, and I think this is where most people make the mistake. Most people think it's organic or paid. It's really organic and paid. So for me, they've kind of worked together to where a lot of times, I'll use a tracker to see, okay, who's coming from ads, who's coming from organic. And it'll say someone's coming from organic. But then when I go back and I listen to the sales call, they're like, man, I've been watching you for months. You're incredible. I love Marvin and all the videos he's posting. So a lot of times, even people who are coming from paid still are nurturing themselves with my content and beyond. So I feel like it's almost 100% of my lead flow is coming from organic, but for right now, we'll say it's about 80-20.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we see with our clients. That's why I'm always also saying that it's good to combine these two because they all work together. So then, we've seen the same situation where sometimes people first, they might find out about you from YouTube and then convert on the ad, but it might be also the other way around where someone actually finds out about you from the ad, but then they watch the content and the content will actually make them convert. So that's something that we see as well. And now when we started working together, like you've been already growing a channel, you already had a decent size of your channel. So I remember that you also had some problems in the process that like didn't allow you to really stay consistent and like get the results that you wanted. So could you tell me a bit more about like how the process of creating videos, getting them out there looked like before working with us, and then how did that change after?
Man, you want to talk about I don't like using the word headache loosely, but I feel like that's the best way to kind of describe what life looked like, because I think at the time for myself, and maybe this is the same situation for a lot of other people who are using YouTube for, lead gen for their business, I was dealing with multiple contractors for different aspects of YouTube. Because as you know, when it comes to creating content on here, thumbnail and packaging of the video, that's one sector of YouTube. And then you have scripting, it's another sector. And then you have, retention strategies, that's another sector. So I was like, me and Fiverr were best friends to where it's like I had four or five different contractors that I was working with to help me be responsible for putting out content every single week. And that was difficult because now you're dealing with 4 or 5 different schedules. You're dealing with 4 or 5 different, personalities. You're dealing with 4 or 5 different individuals who have their own motives and intentions. So it's like some days, I'm getting videos out in time, and other weeks I'm like chasing people down, but I still have to make sure I'm staying on top of these other 3 contractors. So I felt like I was just all over the place, man. I knew it wasn't sustainable, but I never was able to come across a solution that I felt like was going to take me out of this hamster wheel of running around and chasing all these different contractors. So I kind of just stuck with it because YouTube was the YouTube videos were still working on the front end, but on the back end, I was losing my mind. It was not fun at all.
Yeah, exactly. That's actually, sometimes people ask me like, what made me start this business? And I tell them because in the past, like I was a video editor and I was working with one person who actually had the same situation. So there was like, I was a video editor, but then, they had someone else for graphic design, for like creating the thumbnails, someone else for writing titles. They had a YouTube coach on top of that. So it was like just kind of like all over the place. So I'm curious, like, how did it change then, when you started with working with us?
Yeah, so it was night and day, man, because I went from having to work with 4 to 5 different contractors for different aspects of my channel to where now, when I started working with you guys at Brand Dive, I had everything in house. So ideation for my content was under the Brand Dive umbrella, packaging for my videos, scripting, research, times, like all the different aspects that come together to put a great YouTube video. I didn't have to work with 18 different people to get one video done. Everything was in-house. And what made it even better was that you guys almost are like mind readers, to where it's like with contractors, I feel like I had to give them every little detail about, okay, this is how I want the thumbnail to look. This is how I want the video to be edited. But working with you guys, not only did you take care of everything all under one roof, but you were giving me ideas on things I wasn't even thinking about. I'm like, okay, I'm learning from working with these guys on how YouTube works, what to do and what not to do. Why did this content piece work versus that content piece work? What do we need to do less of? What do we need to do more of? So not only did you take away a headache, but you also created a learning experience for me as a CEO, to where it's like, okay, the channel is growing. I'm not busting my head against a wall working with 18 different people, but I'm understanding YouTube more and more every single day that I'm working with these guys. And that for me was a cherry on the top, to where I'm like, okay, long term, this is exactly where I need to be.
Oh, that's perfect. Thanks so much for the kind words. And I wanted to ask you also, because right now we recently crossed 100,000 subscribers. Congratulations on that. That's a really, really huge number. But a lot of people are more interested in like, okay, if YouTube can help me scale my business, like how much revenue can I actually, make from that? So I'm curious, how much revenue could attribute to YouTube when it comes to the, business?
Yeah. So in terms of revenue that can attribute from YouTube, I would say that, like I said, even though it was an 80 to 20 split in terms of just lead gen, right now still YouTube is still contributing to about like 90 to 95% of the revenue that we're generating right now in our company. I think at the time when we first started working with you guys from where you are now, we've seen about a 10% increase in our overall top line revenue, which is incredible, right? So if for us, it's been a very large contributing factor. And I think as we continue to grow the channel, we'll continue to do so as well. So
that's amazing. So what would you say then to someone who is on the fence, is considering working with us, but it's not sure if they should pull the trigger on that?
Man, let me tell you something. If you are comfortable dealing with 40 different individuals on Fiverr and running around and trying to figure everything out on your own, then, you can keep doing it the way that you've been doing it. But if you want to put yourself in a situation where you're making content creation simple, you're putting yourself in a situation where you're creating you're not only staying consistent with how much pieces of content you're putting out on YouTube, but you're consistently improving the quality of the content, thus improving the quality of the lead flow you're getting into the business, thus increasing the amount of sales that your business is doing. I can't think of any other agency that would be a better fit for you than Brand Dive. This isn't something that you should think about doing. It's something that you need to do, because if this has been able to help my business the way it has, I can't even begin to imagine what it may be able to do for someone else that may be watching this. So for me, it was a no-brainer. It's easily been the best, not one of the best, the best investment I've ever made for my company. And I'm excited for another 5 to 6, 6 to 7, 10 plus years of working with you guys and beyond. And I know it'll be the same for anyone else that's watching.
No, thank you so much. I'm really looking forward to that as well. And thank you so much for taking the time of your day to actually come here and, talk with me here. And for anyone listening, if you are an agency, if you're an agency, a coaching business, like any type of B2B business, and you also want to have us basically help you grow your YouTube channel, then down below this video, I'm going to leave a link where you can actually schedule a quick conversation with me just so I can see if you're the right fit. And then Marvin, again, thank you so much for coming on here. We're going to leave a links down below also to your socials, your YouTube channel, so people can go ahead there, subscribe, go watch the content, get to know you a bit more. And yeah, again, thanks so much for taking the time to be here. And I'm looking forward to working with you for years to come.
100%. Also, before we finish, this actually just came in the mail before we finish. I gotta show this one time. Bang, right there.
Oh, you got it already. That's perfect.
There you go. So shout out to this is 100% all Brand Dive. So I appreciate you guys, man. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much then.